All gas, no brake.
And now we have liftoff. Welcome into the Now We Have Liftoff New York Jets podcast. And on this lovely Tuesday evening, live, I'm your host, John June. And of course, with me, wouldn't be a show without my guy, Frank Piccolo. Frank, how we doing today, brother?
I was good before you got my blood boiling on our pre-show talks.
Yeah, I mean, and we'll leave, maybe we won't completely divulge the the entire topic of the conversation. We don't want to give all Jet fans here a similar feeling to what Frank is feeling right now with, extra high blood pressure or, anything like that, especially after the game that we had to endure on Sunday as the New York Jets are. Our beloved New York Jets. I don't know how often I can keep saying that. But our New York Jets, beloved New York Jets, losing, I should say, 30-9 to the New Orleans Saints. The Jets converted 3 field goals in this one. New kicker, Eddie Pinheiro. Shout out to him for showing up and doing his job, because very few people in the green and white have done that this year. Frank,
I was just going to say, isn't that sad that we're giving him a round of applause for doing his job? Like, I wish people came around and gave me a round of applause for plowing snow correctly. Like, do you want to do that for me, John? Like, every time it snows, just give me a round of applause?
Nah, like, man, nah. Right? Nobody's coming to my job. Give me a round of applause.
Exactly. So that's what I'm doing. Like it's crazy. Like, he didn't even make like a 62-yarder. Like if he made like a crazy long field goal, I'd be like, okay. But he made like, what do you make? 37, 35? Like,
let me see. I have the distances here. He made his long was a 46-yard field goal. So, again, like you said, not of the 50-yard variety, but hey, he was 3 for 3. So right now he's 100%. It's better than the predecessors before him. So I will live with it. But Frank, also some good from this game. It seems to be a running theme here with this defense, with the up and down performances, but for a good chunk of the first half, this defense was good, considering they were going into this game without Michael Carter in the secondary. We already know the situation that they have going on at safety. They're already on to their, Javelin Guidry, who, really is a depth chart player. He's playing significant snaps for them. They're going up against the Saints team, who just happens for 5 weeks, Alvin Kamara, nowhere to be seen, but just in time to play those Jets. He was definitely here. So 27 rush attempts by him, over 120 yards from scrimmage, but CJ Mosley contributed 17 total tackles here. Also Quincywilliams was again solid in this game as well. Frank, your thoughts on the performance of the defense?
So they started off good, or not good, but they started off all right. Like, CJ Mosley had a good game. As you said, Quincy had an all right game.
I mean, just to put it in some context, right? This was a 10-6 game going into the half. And there was actually a possibility where the Jets could have made it a 10-10 game, and the offense been able to convert down by the goal line. So they did hold this offense to 10 points. I mean, they held them to 13 points through 3 quarters. The Saints ended up scoring 17 total points in the fourth. So for the most part, the defense, I would say played solid, giving up 2 field goals and a touchdown through 3 quarters of football against a talented offensive coordinator and Sean Payton. Granted, they're playing a quarterback who also couldn't throw the ball. So they were dealing with that. But all around, I thought it was a solid performance.
So yesterday I put up on Twitter a stat which is really disconcerting, that I think is our biggest problem. I said one of our bigger problems, but I think it's the biggest problem that we have on our defense is that 8 out of the 12 games this season, we've given up an opening score. That is horrendous. And out of those 8, 6 have been touchdowns. That's just horrendous. And that's not even counting the 4 40-point debacles that we've had mixed in there. You touched on it up and down. I get that with the younger players, right? Like the Quincywilliams of the world, even Brycehall. Eccles came back. I think Eccles had a good game this week. But CJ, even though he had a good game this week, he had a terrible game last week. He can't have, on a team that's so young, you can't have inconsistencies with your best player. And he's probably the best player on the team.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, and just to add to that stat, Frank, the Jets are actually last in the entire NFL in percentage of opponents' offensive drives that end in a score. They're dead last. It's over 50%. They're the only team that's over 50%. The next highest team is Detroit at 46.8%. The Jets are allowing opponents to score on 50.3% of their drives. That is an absurd number. Absurd.
Yeah, not to talk about the offseason, but that's got to be addressed in the offseason. And I get it. You lost Lawson. You lost Curry. You lost a whole bunch of guys. You lost May halfway through the season. But at some point, you got to take pride. The players that are out there got to take pride. And the coaching staff has got to take pride. If it's going to be really tough for Salah to bring back Ulbrich if this trend continues the last 4 weeks and we don't start seeing like significant progress. Like they keep making the same mistakes, right? Like I saw 3 screen passes that went for 20 plus yards on Sunday. And that is ridiculous at this point in the season. And it's ridiculous. It's not because Alvin Kamara made a great play. You just had offensive linemen in front of defenders, and then you had defenders that are in position to make a tackle and just olay. Like they just not putting their body in front, or like you're taught at 8 years old. Helmet on ball, chest, thrust the hips up through the defender.
I think that I don't think that that's on Ulbrich though, right? I don't think the talent is good enough on this defense. This is a team, right? Going back into the 2021 NFL draft, they didn't spend their first 4 picks all offense, right? Like they didn't address defense until the 5th round. Carl Lawson, their highest paid, defensive free agent, ends up on injured reserve, right? So I don't think that this is an Ulbrich problem as much as this might be a talent problem. I don't have the same concerns for Ulbrich because I think you look at what Ulbrich's done, in 2 separate stints as the Atlanta defensive coordinator, taking over for Dan Quinn with, a unit that had some talent, maybe not a lot, but they had some pieces, and he was able to make it work. And I think if you provide some pieces here on this defense that, between Salah and Ulbrich and Joe Douglas, in this front office in an off season, that they could figure this out. The concerns I have, I mean, and this is crazy because we started off trying to talk about the good, right? And the defense wasn't good, and it ends up in this, negative conversation here. Some other good though, Brycehall continuing to be solid. Quincywilliams, we talked about him. Quinnenwilliams also continuing to be dominant as well. But on the offensive side of the ball, not a lot of good there. I mean, the offensive line has played well. They played well in recent weeks, and they were solid again on Sunday. But the bad has got to be Zachwilson. I mean, he was not good in this game at all. 42 pass attempts, 19 completions, 202 passing yards. So it wasn't an overall good game by him. Did have probably his best game on the ground to date, 33 rushing yards, had a long scramble of 18 yards, but all for naught because the Jets once again could not put up points they couldn't put up touchdowns. They could not score touchdowns. They have been allergic for whatever reason to the end zone outside of, a couple of games, with Zachwilson.
And Elijahmoore.
Yeah, Elijahmoore definitely helps. But just Zachwilson, just the accuracy was not there. And this was not a guy that was known for being inaccurate, right? Like you look at all the advanced scouting numbers, even from PFF and things like that. He was up there with Mac Jones as one of the most accurate quarterbacks in this draft class. For whatever reason, that accuracy is not there. And, it's frustrating to watch him dirt the ball to open receivers, whether they're in the flat or they're just running a simple hitch route. And you're just like, he had a play to Trayvon Wesco where it's like he scrambles out, gets out of trouble. There's an open receiver by the sticks. All he's got to do is just put it on him. For whatever reason, can't do that. Right. And it's just, it's got to be frustrating if you're a Jets fan watching it because you feel like as a kid that has talent, that was the number 2 pick in the draft, like you should be playing better, regardless of, as long as the offensive line is playing well enough, you should be able to deliver the football to open receivers. Like that's the minimum expectation of your job. And if you can't do that, why were you the number 2 pick in the draft?
Yeah, I agree with most of that. He played terrible. I know I've talked about this since we drafted the kid or before we drafted this kid. His feet is terrible. It's one of the worst that I've seen. I talked about last week that his feet were less hurried than previous weeks, but we go back again to the hurried feet, especially that pass. The 2 passes that were the most egregious was the dirt to the wide receiver screen to Braxton Berrios, and then the one to Ty Johnson. But I will say this, because I've been defending the kid all week not all week, since Sunday's game on social media, and this kid is getting blasted by Jet fans. Some Jet fans, I appreciate their opinion because I feel like they know the game, and then others are just regular fans, and there's nothing wrong with being a regular fan and not having the deep inside knowledge of some other people out there. But as you know, John, sometimes that learning curve is bigger for certain people, right? You always talk about how that learning curve for Justin Herbert was very short. Like he was almost ready to get right in there and have the lead.
That wasn't the expectation with Herbert, though, right? Like
no,
Herbert,
absolutely. But for whatever reason, he hit the ground running. Zach, it's almost like Zach was going from freshman football to varsity football. And that's what it looks like, right? Like, it looks like the game is moving too fast for him. Like, is it possible that everyone's saying that he sucks and everyone's saying that he can't play the game of football, but is it possible that the game is moving so fast for him and he doesn't know how to slow it down? And that's why he's dirting balls, because he's thinking instead of reacting. And we know football is a game of reaction and not overthinking. When you start thinking in football, that's when you start making mistakes. And I personally believe that is what Zach Wilson's problem is at the moment.
Yeah, it's definitely something that can be contributing to it, right? Like we all talked about like level of competition, and one of the things that you could say is that like, hey, they played. He went to BYU, small school, not a great level of competition. Like, of course, the speed of the game is really sped up for him. I go back to the like, what is your job requirement, right? Like the same way we expect Eddie Pinheiro and every other kicker that walks through here to hit an extra point and kick, a 40 something yard field goal, right? We expect them to do that. Like that's the bare minimum. If Eddie Pinheiro comes out here and kicks a 57-yard field goal, then we're like, oh my God, Eddie Pinheiro is great. Like, that's fantastic. That's how I feel with Zach Wilson, right? Like, you, at a minimum, should be able to hit an open receiver, right? Like, whether they're in the flat, whether they're 8 yards in front of you, whether they're in the back of the end zone, like that's the minimum expectation that I have of you, is that you should be able to hit an open receiver. When you do something fantastic, like break out of the pocket and throw a ball 60 yards down the field, that's when I'm like, oh my God, you're extraordinary. You're great. You deserve to be the number 2 pick in the draft. And we've seen the extraordinary, but we don't see so much of the small things, right? Like being able to hit an open receiver or check the ball down, right? Doing those things.
The drops didn't help. The drops didn't help this kid. And
no, the drops don't help the kid, right?
They weren't just drops
the other day. But somebody put out a stat the other day that he's not even one of the most affected quarterbacks by drops, right? Like he's still, I think, like in the 20s or 30s in adjusted completion rate, which accounts for drops. So like, even if you consider the drops, like every quarterback deals with drops, but like how many times you watch Tom Brady dirt a ball to an open receiver? Like, and I said this facetiously, like DJ Bienemy, shout out to homie, it's his birthday, wish him some love. But DJ Bienemy said that, I forgot where I was going with this altogether, but DJ Bienemy was saying that every quarterback deals with drops, but at the end of the day, right, like there's an expectation on Zach Wilson to be able to hit the receiver. That's not what DJ said. I was trying to buy myself some time so I can remember it, but I can't. Frank, you're gonna have to take it, and hopefully it comes back to me.
That's okay. You're getting old. But I hear that, right? But there are multiple times in the game where, and I saw a couple of the beat writers say this, and I don't agree with it, because I'm not saying I know more football than them, because I don't. They definitely know more football than me. But one route in particular was that slant route to Keelancole, and Zach Wilson put it on behind him, and he was kind of getting blasted by some of the beat writers about that throw. But when I broke down the all 22, you could see that the D-back had outside leverage, and then you had the safety that was coming down also on that. So when I was watching it, the only place to throw that would be Keelancole's backside away from the two defenders. And I have always been told that if that ball hits you in the hands, that you got to come up with that. And Keelancole had way too many of those in the game on Sunday.
Yeah, no, definitely. That's, again, the supporting cast doesn't help, but the fact that you just not able to hit the open receiver is what is just continuing to stick out to me. Like DJ Bienemy had said, I remember it now. He had tweeted out, Jet fans, what is one thing that Zach Wilson does well? And me facetiously said, throw the ball into the dirt. Because I mean, seriously, I've never seen an NFL quarterback dirt the ball as much as he has. Like, I don't want to make this a thing, but like the Atlanta game, it was the same thing, right? Like this game, there was another game in between, and he's only played like 7 games, 8 games in the NFL. So in like 3 of them, you've dirted passes. So I don't know. I'm not down on the kid. I still think he has a ton of talent, right? I still think he has a ton of potential. Y'all all know Frank and I, we would have put Justin Fields in the card. Not that he's playing all that well right now, but at least Justin Fields is fun to watch.
Do it.
He's fun to watch.
Yeah, he is fun to watch, but that doesn't result in wins all the time, right? And I get it.
Neither does this.
No, it doesn't. No, it doesn't. So Zach Wilson got a little taste of what Sam Darnold went through here on Sunday with having 0 weapons. But with that being said,
Sam did it for like 20 games.
Yeah, but my boy LaMichael P. Ryan had a nice little run on Sunday.
Yeah, he had one nice run in his was it second NFL game action? They said it was. No, he's played more than 2 NFL games, but he hasn't played much football.
No, he had 7 carries though. There's that.
Yeah, he's got 8 total carries on the year. Look, man, no, he did fine.
He looked like one of the better running backs on Sunday, but that's because Austin was.
I was gonna say it's because he was the only one available.
Oh, you had Ty Johnson, but Ty Johnson just didn't look right. He hasn't looked right for a while, man. Like there's something's
going on with Ty Johnson.
Maybe he's hurt.
Moving on to the games, we know our guy Michael Carter's coming back. So, I mean, do we have anything else that we want to talk about in regards to this game here, Frank? Oh, yes. I know what we want to talk about. The 2020 draft class. That's what we want to talk about. Starting with denzelmims, MIMS. denzelmims, that denzelmims. He is. Yeah, I don't. He's. Yeah, I don't know. He like has honestly, he's been in quite a disappointment. I tried to go to bat for him. Like he literally caused the Jets 25 yards in penalties. Was it 25 yards? Like one of them was like half the distance, and then the other one was like 10, 15 yards, 10 yards, whatever. Either way, not offensive pass interference, an illegal shift or illegal formation because he
covered the spot receiver. I want to talk about the illegal formation because that is something.
Go ahead, Mr. Official.
Yeah, exactly. That drives me insane. And you heard rumblings about this is why he wasn't getting as much run because he was making these mistakes in practice. There is no excuse for you to come in motion, come across the formation, and know that you have to be on the line, or you should know that you have to be on the line, and you're off, and now you're off the line. So now the tackle is technically the legal end on that side, but being by number he can't be, and he didn't declare himself eligible, now that's a penalty for illegal formation. That can't happen. You're an NFL receiver. That can't happen. And I'm sick of hearing that Mims isn't a practice player, that every time he steps on the field, he makes plays. Well, guess what? He didn't on Sunday. He saw a lion's share of the reps in the first half until Salah finally had enough in the first, after those two terrible penalties. The pass interference, whatever. It was bad, but I don't get mad for those penalties.
No.
By those type of players, right? I get like if Correydavis had that, I'd get mad because he's a veteran player. He should know better, right?
I still don't get mad. I watched D Hop. I watched D Hop push off like 40 times yesterday.
But that's what I'm saying. But the mental errors with this team, and it's not just Mims, the mental errors across the board. Like, we've killed Nathan Shepard for this. We've killed other players on the offensive line for the mental errors. We killed McGovern early in the year for his mental errors. They got to stop. I don't know what they're doing in practice. And, maybe they need to run laps. I don't know. But these mental errors are killing this team.
Well, seems like a Mims issue because all the receivers seem to be fine, right? Like Braxton Berrios doesn't have an issue lining up.
No, of course.
Elijahmoore doesn't have an issue.
I'm just talking about the mental issue.
Totally.
The mental errors going forward.
But sticking on the 2020 class and Mims specifically, right? Like, I don't know if he's long for this coaching staff, right? Like, and I hate to say that about a player and it's only his second year, but if you can't know something as simple as like where to line up so that we don't get an illegal formation, like, how can you convince the coaches that this isn't something that you made a mistake in like week 1 of the preseason or, week 2 of the regular season. Like, this is we're going into week 15, bro. Like, what are you doing?
Of your second year in the league.
No, I mean, first year in this system, you miss some time, whatever. I get it, but you've had all this time, like you haven't been playing.
I know, but isn't you tell me because I didn't play receiver, but when I coached, every time that you go in motion, your head's supposed to go back to the ball, right?
Yeah, I mean, look, I get all that. I get all of it. I'm just saying, like, in regards to Denzelmims, right? Like, you're an NFL receiver, like you're a professional. Like, this isn't high school. Like, you're not. This isn't like you, right? Like, you get paid big time money to do your job at a high and do it at a high level, right? So, like, there's an expectation that you're gonna go home. You're gonna read your playbook like a pro. Like, Elijahmoore, rookie or not, they say he knows his playbook in and out. He can line up in any spot, right? Like, Denzelmims can't do that, let alone know to line up on the line of scrimmage like when he's supposed to. And Frank, I've been trying to give Denzelmims the benefit of the doubt as much as I could because the talent is there. But at the end of the day, like, you've got to also be in your playbook and know where you're supposed to line up, where you're supposed to be, and what time you're supposed to be there, and so on and so forth.
Yeah, and that's why me and you are so big on the process, right? Like, all those little things matter. Doing the little things matter because the little things could manifest itself into bigger things, which we saw on Sunday with Mims. So if you're not doing the little things at practice, right? And that's what I count the little things. Like, if you're not totally in, right, at practice, what do you think is going to happen at a game? And that's what I've been trying to tell people. I've been trying to tell you, been trying to tell friends of mine that, yeah, he might be a gamer on Sunday, but when we needed to play, because we were driving at that point, and he comes across the line, and boom, that can't happen. But it wasn't just him. Like, those things I get really mad at, but from what I saw from Ashton Davis on Sunday, and it's been before that, like, his tackling is so bad. It's like he don't want it. Like, that's the heart right there. Like, and I see it. Like, He don't want any part of the business, and it drives me insane because he's athletic as all heck, but when it's him one-on-one with a running back that has any type of ability that's going to lower his shoulder, he does not want it. He olays it. Like, it's so bad. Like, he looks like he should. I don't want to say that. I'm gonna stop myself because I'm going a little bit too far. But he does not look like a starting caliber safety when it comes to him coming up to support the run.
Yeah, maybe they should give him a shot at like outside corner or something at this point. Like, like honestly, I don't.
It can't hurt.
Yeah, I don't know because you can't play him in the slot because you got to stop the run and play in the slot. Like you got to be on run support and play in the slot. So I don't know. Maybe he's got to be farther away from the ball, or maybe they should just put him on offense, put him at receiver.
He can't catch the ball.
Yeah, I mean, and then there's the head of the 2020 class, and Mekhi Becton. Questions are, whether he'll be back. Had a 6 to 8 week timeline initially. Last week was the 10-week timeline. Does that make sense? No, last week had to be like the 12-week timeline because it has to coincide with the regular season. Right?
Yeah, week 1 he got hurt.
Yeah, so I don't think he's gonna come back. I mean, I'd like to. The optimist in me says that, like, hey, you got to get a game with, because Elijah Moore is going to play the final 2 games of the season. Todd Bowles. Robert Salah has already said that. I got a drink for that one. Coach Salah has already said that, and so we know Zach Wilson is going to be playing. Hopefully, he'll be playing. We know Michael Carter will be playing. And so the hope there is that Mekhi Becton could play. But from an organization standpoint, he's probably, he's probably your most important player outside of Zach Wilson, right? So like protecting Zach Wilson. So you got to make sure he's there healthy. George Fant has been playing a bang up job there at the left tackle spot, holding it down. So, he'll be back either, playing on the right side or, still being back as a swing tackle. But Mekhi Becton, I think you got to have his, you got to watch out for his future for sure.
Yeah, and I think that's the most important thing. Like, when you talk about that injury, right, it was a fractured kneecap. But along with that fractured kneecap, I don't know how long he was not walking for, or not lifting or whatever. So I don't know how much muscle dystrophy that he had while he was laid up or whatever, but I'm sure he had to build the strength back in that knee, and I don't know if those muscles are all the way there yet. The last thing you want to do is for him to tear a muscle in his knee because they're not built up because he wasn't using them for so long. And like, can you imagine he comes back week 17 or week 18 and he tears his ACL?
Yeah, I think that's why I'm with you. You just sit him out. You let him just heal up. Get in shape, and come back next year. Better player.
And I get it from his point, but because he's got to be hearing all the fan, or a portion of the fan base calling him lazy and fat and all this stuff. But he can't worry about that, and the Jets can't worry about that. Like, they drafted this kid to be the Brycehall Ferguson of this offensive line, and obviously it hasn't started off like like he was going to be a cornerstone, but the Jets can't worry about that. They have to worry about protecting this kid from himself.
Yeah, definitely. All right, so let's move on to the game on Sunday. And as always, this game is brought to you by DraftKings Sportsbook. Frank, why don't you let the people know? Frank, it usually helps when you're not on mute.
Yeah, that would be a beer. So as we know, as John just said, we are brought to you by DraftKings Sportsbook. Hey, football fans, I'm sure we all love an action-packed, high-scoring NFL game, but with the latest no-brainer from DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NFL, you will be a winner once a single point scored. New customers who bet just $1 on any team to score can win $100 in free bets. It's that simple. If Sportsbook isn't available in your state yet, you can still get it on the NFL action. Everyone can play for huge cash prizes all season long with DraftKings daily fantasy sports contests. DraftKings is giving all new customers a free shot at millions of dollars in total prizes with their first deposit. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now. Use promo code TPPN. Bet $1 on any team to score, and you can win $100 in free bets. If they score, you score. With promo code TPPN this week at DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NFL. Must be 21 years or older, New Jersey, Indiana, and Pennsylvania only. New customers only. Minimum $5 deposit, $1 wager required, one per customer. Restrictions apply. See DraftKings.com/sportsbook for details. Gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER.
And as Frank said, this line right here, this game that we are about to break down, the line, so all of it comes from DraftKings Sportsbook, where your beloved New York Jets, our beloved New York Jets, are on the road to face the 6-7 Miami Dolphins. This game has a 42.5 point total, and the Jets are 8.5 point underdogs. This line, the look ahead line was at 7. Vegas not very happy with the performance of the Jets on Sunday, so 8.5 it is. The Dolphins are dealing with quite a situation. They're basically 3 of their running backs, their top running backs, have all ended up testing positive for COVID. And Myles Gaskin, Philip Lindsay, and Salvin Ahmed. That leaves Malcolm Brown, who I will be completely honest, I am not worried about. Frank, you look fine. I'm not worried about Malcolm Brown. He was averaging like less than 2 yards per carry prior to ending this, going on injured reserve earlier this year. So if he does start for the Dolphins, I will not be concerned. I actually would imagine that the Dolphins just go to a pass game at that point. So I expect Tua at home have a pretty big day here against the Jets. I think the Miami defense gives the Jets some trouble. They don't have a receiver who can consistently win one-on-one man coverage. Miami's going to run a ton of blitz, a ton of cover zero, with a ton of man behind it. I think Zach Wilson struggles on Sunday. So with that being said, I'm going to take the Jets to not cover the 8.5 points. Sorry, that was painful to come out, but
Yeah, it's been that way the past 10 years when we talk about the Jets. But with the situation that Miami is in now with their running back room. I think it kind of plays into the Jets' strength, at least on the defensive side of the ball. We can't stop a nosebleed when it comes to the running game. And I think Myles Gaskin in particular would have gave the Jets fits this game. I don't know. I don't trust Tua passing the ball. I just don't. I think the Jets will be okay on that side of the ball. I think on the offense side of the ball is what scares me. I did hear. I think Salah said that both Michael Carters have a chance of playing this week. So if Michael Carter, the running back, plays this week, that would be good because the screen game should be open this week. So hopefully, at the very least, Tevincoleman's playing because I don't trust Ty Johnson to catch a screen, and God help us if they throw a screen to P. Ryan because that could be very bad.
I mean, P. Ryan's got some decent hands. I just don't know where it'll go.
That's what I mean. He'll catch the ball, but he ain't getting too far.
No, he'll get exactly what was there for him to get. But Michael Carter could also make an impact in the run game too. The Dolphins did struggle to stop the run. I'm glad you actually brought that up because if Michael Carter does play, he was actually on his way to a really big game against the Dolphins when they last played. This is actually the game where he got hurt, and many believe that had he not gotten hurt, he would have had his first 100 yards rushing day of the season. So, yeah, I mean, maybe that gives the Jets an opportunity to cover the spread there. I just think that from the last times these teams played, the Dolphins have gotten better while the Jets have gotten worse. So,
have we gotten worse or we just stayed the same?
Well, without that guy, because he made a huge impact last time. This one right here behind this one. No, that one. That one. Yeah, that one. Without that guy who had a big day against the Dolphins last time they played, over 100 receiving yards, 2 touchdown receptions. It's definitely going to be tough. Okay, so Frank, I don't think you gave your prediction. Who's covering? What's going on?
No, the Jets are going to lose, and they won't cover the spread. I'm right with you.
Alrighty then. He did not have 2 touchdowns against the Dolphins. I had to fact check myself. It felt like 2 touchdowns. When you have 141 receiving yards, I feel like 2 touchdowns should just come with it. But it was 141 receiving yards and a touchdown. So I get a lock. I get to pick my lock first, even though I lost my lock here.
I meant to call you last night too.
Yeah, it's fine.
No, I meant before the game. I thought you had it in the bag when Jalen Ramsey came down on the COVID list.
This is actually tough. I don't know what to do. Whoa, that is odd. The Bengals are 2-point dogs. The Bengals are 2. Oh, wait, actually. Give me Tampa Bay minus 10.5 over the New Orleans Saints. 10.5 is a large number. I can't take that. I'm sorry. Give me the Cincinnati Bengals +2 against the Denver Broncos.
Well, I have a shocker this week, John. Do you want to guess what the shock?
You're taking New England.
I am not.
You're taking Arizona.
I'm not. I wouldn't be a shocker if I took Arizona.
I thought maybe you were being sarcastic. You're gonna take. Just tell me, because I don't want to make it fun for the fans.
I am going to take Houston to cover the spread against Jacksonville, and they're +4.
I actually like that.
Now, let me give it a little reason. Jacksonville looks like it's ready to implode. Like, that is...
Trevor Lawrence is ready to beat up Urban Meyer.
Yeah, that's a... Urban Meyer has made Trevor Lawrence look like he has no idea what he's doing, which I didn't think was possible. Like, I didn't think coaching could be that bad. Like, there was a report that came out that said that Urban told all his assistants that they suck and give them a reason why they should still be fired. And it was basically
they're all losers and he's
a winner. Oh my God.
You know what? The NFL should just run an experiment. They should force they should trade the Patriots, make the Patriots trade Mac Jones with other teams each week. So like Mac Jones should have to play a game with Jacksonville while Trevor Lawrence plays a game with the Patriots. And then Zach Wilson with the Patriots, Mac Jones with the Jets, Justin Fields with the Patriots. I just want to see what it would look like.
We know what it would look like. We're looking at it. Like we've looked at it before, right? Like this is the reason
it looks
why
like 9 to 11 wins.
Yeah. Well, if Trevor Lawrence was on New England, like he might break every rookie passing record that there is.
Oh, don't let the New England fans hear you say that. Mac Jones, man.
Well, good thing this is not a New England Patriot podcast. This is for New York Jets.
Absolutely. So yeah, with that being said, man, let's kick it. Let's get out of here. So everybody, love you, appreciate you. Thank you for kicking it with us, whether it's live, whether you're watching it, the recorded copy, or whether you are listening as you sit there, either driving to work or working from home or while you're at work. We appreciate you. So, that being said, everybody, we are out of here. Have a good one. Peace.